Welcome to the Awaken the Awesome podcast with your host, Olivier D. This is Awaken the Awesome, a podcast where we acknowledge that we are all in this together. Through enlightening conversations and personal insights, we like to engage with individuals just like you who show us how they are bringing a little bit of awesomeness along their individual journeys. Our hope is to inspire you to always keep pushing and to stay awesome along the way. It was only going to be a matter of time before I would have him back on the program. From our first recording together, which you should most definitely check out, episode 125, Max de la Cruz and I have certainly aligned on many levels, from the warrior's mindset to childishly getting a laugh out of the little whimsical things that occur in our everyday lives, to the undeniable demands of fatherhood, to furthering the necessary conversations about mental health among men. I can quite honestly admit I've made a new friend. This next recording is very much the product of this mutual energy and respect. As we were candidly exchanging back and forth over DM, we eventually got to bounce off different observations in regards to another topic which we were quite versed in: marriage and long-term relationships. We realized that a lot of the stuff we were discussing could be useful to people, and as these things do, when I asked Max if he'd be up for a comeback episode to dive into this topic, he didn't flinch and graciously accepted my invitation to return to the podcast. On this episode, Max and I get personal and share our frank perspective about the state of long-term relationships, how one's core values have a decisive impact on our marriage, the challenges of accepting your partner's differences and needs, accepting our faults as men, and so much more. So let's get into this. Awaken the Awesome, episode 133 with Max de la Cruz. Here we go. I want people to hear this because, again, it's right off the bat of just publishing Max's first appearance on the podcast, and the fact that, you know, we have had repeat guests on the podcast. Obviously, we've had some traction, but ever since, you know, Max and I connected, and again, we have to send a shout out to the wonderful Taina for connecting us. And sure, you know, it's been a thrill of a connection, and, you know, just, you know, mutual energy and respecting and shouting out to a fellow king, a fellow father, someone with the same energy. And it just felt so right that, dude, we have to have you back on because because we have so many conversations offline on via the DMs of this world. And yes, it's just like, no, this is stuff that we need to share. And it was something that really hit me. And this is why I wanted to have you back on, because you and I resonate on the same frequency. And we have to, first of all, like, you know, lay it out. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about marriage. We're going to talk about our own perspectives, especially from the men, because especially after your first interview, Max, there was a lot of commentary from my brothers and our compadres. And it's like, thank you, King, for, you know, putting it out. And the ladies as well were just like, you know, man, vulnerability and everything. And we're going to talk again about, you know, the discomfort that a lot of people are going through, seeing us being open with this new generation. But I really wanted, first of all, to say, congratulations on your anniversary, man. I think it was Sunday?
Sunday. It was Sunday, yes.
How long we been together?
We've been together for 12 years.
12 years.
Yes.
12 years. And that's why, you know, it's so thrilling to be able to sit across from someone who understands, because we talked about the grind already, but, you know, if we're specifically talking about your marriage, relationships, and again, we're not social workers, we're not, you know, relationship counselors, we're only dealing with our relationships. You know, my marriage is not your marriage and your marriage is not my marriage, but again, we have common threads. And why I wanted to have you back on, and we've talked about this on the DM, is because, you know, a close friend got married maybe 2 years ago, and, you know, we were at the wedding and everything happened, and then here we are in 2020 and they split. And again, we're not getting into the whys. It's just the fact that, again, there are various reasons, but I couldn't help it. And I was happy to be vulnerable enough to talk to someone who can understand. It's just like, what were you thinking? Because you have the conversation and you're like, okay, you hear a lot of, oh, I couldn't take it. Oh, the person couldn't understand me, or I need my space, or I'm not being heard. You hear this a lot, Max.
Yes.
But I'm sorry. And this is where we're going to open up the conversation, because you know what? It's easy to plan your wedding, but it takes a hell of a lot more work to, you know, work on your marriage.
Ooh,
because that's for the long run. I'm not sure if you agree. And that's what I want to get into, man.
Man, I totally agree with that. You know, like I was talking with my wife, we were recording something and I was like, you know, people want great weddings. They do not want a great marriage. because a great marriage, man, it takes a lot of stepping on your ego. It takes a lot of you opening up to your partner. Like, it takes a lot of work. People think that, oh, you got married, okay, I've reached another status, it's another thing, things go as we did before, but it doesn't. Now, when you're married and you have that covenant of being married, now you represent that person. And that's something that I had to learn, that actually my wife made me understand, because at the beginning, I was like, oh yeah, whatever. I'm just, and that's something so subtle. Like, I was going out to get or run some errands or whatever, but I was just grab the first pair of shirts, grab the first pair of pants, and just go out. But at one point she was like, man, listen, we represent each other. When I go outside, I make sure that I'm dressed properly, that I'm nice and all of that. Not because I want to show off, but because I represent you. So we represent each other. So you cannot go out and just be whatever you want to be when you're married. And that's one of the things, something as so subtle as this, some people, it would blow their mind. Like, nah, it doesn't make any sense. But marriage, it's that.
It's something. Thank you so much for touching on that, because you talked about the ego, and you talked about how we have to, right now, we are united as one, and people need to, we don't need to get all religious about, the covenant and the engagement and everything, but just the simple fact that's the word I love, the commitment, the discipline, the respect, the honor of this person who chooses to be by your side for the rest of their life. To share the good, the bad, the ugly, the lesser, the successes, the victories, the trials, the tribulations. Listen, when you iron it out, like this person, yes, everything. And it's not an easy thing until, when you've had the track record, 12 years. Her and I, we've celebrated last week as well. Right now we're up 11 years. We've been together 16. And we have these conversations, I'm not sure about you, but all the time. We have to look at each other and you're like, wow, we've been together a long time. Yeah. What can I do? How do I celebrate you? How can I honor you? And you put something very important there. It's not just about you. Yeah. Listen, I used to live in my own apartment. You used to live in your own apartment. But when we built this home, we decided to create this life together. It's not about me. I have my individuality. You have your individuality. There are things you love. There are things I hate. But you have to come together. And people fail to understand how important that is. And I think that's where a lot of people totally have it totally screwed up.
Like sometimes people are using that as an excuse, like, oh, I don't have my personal life, I want my space. Well, you can have your space. You can actually, it's a good thing. You can do something with if you have some clique of your boys and you do something and you go out, you do something. It's good to have that because you free your mind. You have fun, and then afterwards you come back. And I'm not talking about like you go out with your boys and do some reckless stuff. Like you just go out. Like, let's say we go together, we grab a bite, we shoot some pool. Yeah. You're supposed to have that. Like, marriage is not a prison. And some people haven't made that. Okay, well, I'm married. I can do this. I can do that. Yes, of course, there's some things that you shouldn't do out of respect, but you still have your individuality. You're still a human being. You still can live. And people fail to do that. Like, they think that, and actually that's one thing that I was doing at the beginning, my early years. First of all, the first year was terrible. Like, if someone is listening to this and they're going through something, my first year of marriage was absolutely horrible. Like,
for real?
Yeah, because she was independent already. She had her own apartment. She's been living by herself for several years. I was coming out of my mom's house. So
big difference.
Yeah, big difference. So the energy is different. Like, I would use I was young. So I was 24 and my mom used to do a couple of stuff for me. But then when I got married, like, I still let my clothes, whatever, on the floor and and not do a bunch of things that usually once you've mature enough and you have your apartment that you're not supposed to do. So we had to adjust to that. We had to adjust with our way of communication. Like, there were so many things that we needed to adjust on that first year, and we're still adjusting sometimes. But we're changing, we're evolving. But we have to make sure that, like you said, when you talk about it, that you keep talking about it. Because the person you married 12, 13 years ago is not the same that you're with now. So you need to make sure.
Thank you. Talk
Yeah.
about that, because a lot of people get it twisted in regards to always seeing the person that's across from them as that same person they put the ring on 10, 6, 5 years ago.
Uh,
Please let them know, Max, that they're not the same person.
no, not at all, because you can't compare. Let me speak to me personally about me. Like when I was 24, like I wanted to be a rapper, I wanted to do this, and I wanted to do shows, and I wanted to do that. But now, when I look down the line, like let's say more than 34, it's not the same aspiration. It's not the same goals. I don't like the same things as before. And obviously, for my wife, it's the same thing. But sometimes we get caught up in the routine, work, do something. If you have kids, work, kids, and then you spend a little bit of time together. You work on your projects, and start over again. So you don't take the time to sit down with your spouse and understand what she likes. She had to check me, and she's like, "Yo, we need to have that flow of conversation, because there's some things that I do not like anymore. There's some things that I like. I have different aspirations, so we need to check in with each other to understand we're growing and we're evolving. That's the fundamental of it. So we need to make sure that we check in to understand each other, to continue to evolve together, so that one person doesn't grow one way and the other person stays stagnant in the same way, thinking that, okay, well, we're together and that's it. It's not the end of the road. When you get together, like you get together to build something and to move forward. But as you build, you grow and you evolve. So you have to make each other aware of your changes, basically.
100.
Yeah.
You were vulnerable with me. I'm gonna be vulnerable with you. You talk about your first year of marriage, my first 2 years, and I actually made two mistakes again, you have to be able to check yourself, check your own ego out of the equation, and realize where you're going wrong. I tell this story all the time. The first fight we had as a married couple, and we're talking like first weekend back from honeymoon, the first argument was something. I look at it now, I'm like, that is so basic, but that a lot of people are going to say, like, really? But when you analyze and you understand your partner in communication, I'm getting to a point here. So Saturday morning, you wake up, I've been by myself here in Montreal for a long time. I lived for myself for a long time. So Saturday morning, I'm not a guy who likes to sleep in. I attack the day. I wake up early. Like, I used to work night shifts. So I get by on very little sleep. So Saturday morning, I wake up. I just get out of bed. I just put my PJs on. I just go out front in the living room, just just watch some TV, get on the computer and just stuff. Lady comes out. I can't believe you got out of bed. It's like, what are you talking about? It's like, and ensued a very long argument because I expected you to be in bed. But I hear, like, what do you mean expect me to be in bed? Like, what is it? You don't own me. Like, so that happened. It sounds stupid, but guys, listen. What she is saying is that all I'm wanting from you is a bit of physical affection, where your presence in bed on Saturday morning means to me. I'm putting a lot of words because that's what it means. And you have to learn. I've learned this after 16 years. But when you're first married, I've never been married before. Again, I'm looking at this as, come on, we're just living together. It's like, it's a Saturday morning. Why are you making a big deal? It is a big deal to the other person. It may not be a big deal to you, but you need to understand that for this person, what is a very minute detail is a very huge deal for her. And you need to speak that language. And I'm like, oh, okay. It took me a lot of weeks to actually get to the point. But you know what? We came to an understanding. Like, all right, I don't like staying in bed, but if you want, okay, can I get Sunday morning? It's like, Sunday morning, can we just not have this discussion? I will give you Saturday. I will stay in bed. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to roll. I'm just fine. No, as long as you're in bed, totally fine. That worked very well. And that's not asking a lot, but for the other person, it is a huge deal. And like you said, you need to be able to have these conversations, because these are the little details, these little idiotic little things that over time, and this, Max, are going to accumulate and become a huge deal. Yeah. And that's where we create frustration and overflow and those temper tantrums that just explode. And you're like, where did that come from?
I totally agree. And I said my first year of marriage was bad, but that's just on the level of like the communication on us understanding each other. But the second year also, and the third year, we got to a cruise control, if I could say it like that. But the second year also, my wife kept telling me that, okay, well, you don't open up. you don't talk, I always have to ask you 150 questions for you to finally open up and talk to me. And she's like, yeah, I'm your wife. Like, if there's something, you need to be able to feel free. And I was like, yeah, no problem. But I never did it. Like, it took me a while to understand that, okay, you're only hurting yourself. And like you were saying, the error that I made was like, I was telling myself, okay, you know what? I'm picking my battles. So something would happen, I didn't say anything. Something again would happen, I didn't say anything. And then, like you said, I let it accumulate. And then afterward, I pop off just for no reason. And she's like, well, where's that coming from? Well, what's your problem? Well, you don't talk or what? So after the third or fourth time that I did that, and she checked me again, I was like, you know what? You need to stop doing that. You need to come to the realization that you need to open up more. You need to talk more. You need to discuss. And I think that's something that guys in general, men in general, we don't talk a lot. Not sure if it's because society makes it look like if you talk about your feelings, you're such a way or such a way. But we definitely, we need to open up more.
You need to do that. And you're so right, because having spoken to a lot of men, and you and I are very big male advocates, for opening up and the toxic masculinity and having that conversation. It's important to keep the dialogue going. I can let my son cry, not just because he doesn't want to go to sleep, but if he's having a bad day, he's supposed to know that he can come to me and, you're just totally fine. Men need to talk, not just vent as like, oh, my wife is just like popping off. No. You need to be able to say like, you know what? Debts are piling up and I'm thinking about changing jobs and, I haven't been happy here. And I'm a little bit insecure into how I'm going to tell her. And the kids have been, really challenging these past few days. You need to be able to call your boys. As you said, let's go out for a beer. Because again, my wife doesn't like to hear me say this, but maybe I'm not sure how you respond to that, but men have their own language. A guy knows how to talk to a guy. It's not sexist. It's biological. It's sociological, but a man knows how to talk to a man, and a man knows how to listen to a man. And right now, I'm not sure if you have, but I got a circle of guys, like, when I'm back home in Haiti, like a very core group of guys on my WhatsApp. When I'm having one of those very low points, they know how to check me. When, we just like, boys, like, I need to talk right now. I was like, what's up, man? And they'll call you up in good 30, 45 minutes, either chat or call. And you know what? That's all you need. It doesn't solve all your problems, but at least it gives you that freedom to express yourself. And, a lot of spouses and wives sometimes feel that, their men are shunning them aside. And okay, why can't you talk to me? Why can't you talk to me? It's not what he needs right now. He needs space. He just needs to be with his boys, and he'll come back. And that's why I agree with you. Guys need to be able to talk to their spouses, but sometimes it's too much, and that's how we feel. That's definitely how I felt. I've been open about my depression, and that's something that I invite men to be more open, because it's a fragile thing, because it breaks that armor of manliness. But it's something we got to do away with, because it's killing us.
Yeah, absolutely. And also when it comes to having the conversation, like, yes, you can always talk to your spouse, but like you said, man, a man can understand a man, and it's just regular nature. Like I also, like, I talk to my wife all the time. We speak on everything, but also when there's something that I'm not feeling good, like, I have my boys that I can talk to. And sometimes when you talk to your spouse, sometimes not, I'm not going to say all women, but they look so much into the details that you're not even into that level of details, that you need someone to just see the core message and understand it for what it is, and just like bounce it you need to have someone to bounce it off of.
That's it.
The person responds. So that's it. Yeah, man, it's
But to celebrate our queens, because we're not going to leave them out, to celebrate our queens. And again, it really touched me, to see that picture of the two of you with you and Cindy. It was just like, oh man, like time flies. But, just to get all sappy and emotional, how did it feel to see her walk down the aisle?
Man, let me tell you something. When I first met her, I think it was back in 1997 or something like that. Like, we were working at a I think it was a telemarketing place or whatever. And the first time I saw her and I was talking to her, I'm like, man, this girl is so beautiful, whatnot. But she was with somebody, and she's like 3.5 years older than me. So at that time, she's like, yo, you're a kid or whatever, whatnot. So we're just friends. And I think I saw her for a total of 3 times. We kept losing contact, kept losing in touch. So when we finally arrived to the day of the wedding and I saw her, I'm like, man, I get to marry the girl that like my high school crush, the girl that I had a dream, that I had such a big crush on. So I felt like, I'm not going to say it's an accomplishment, but I really felt like proud to be able to have her to stand by, and we're going to be a team together to accomplish great things. Like we were talking about things that we want to do, different things. So the fact that we reached that day, and I'm really blessed and I'm really happy that we're now at 12 years, because one of the things, it's not really part of the question, but one of the things that we said to each other before we got married, we said that, you know what, divorce is absolutely out of our vocabulary. So we knew that when we got together, when we would get married, that we would stay married, and we would have to work through different things. And
that's word.
It's easy to say when all things are well. Oh, I love you, baby. I'll be there for you forever. You're my ride or die. It's super easy to say when everything goes well. But when things start to go left, things start to go sour, man, now you get tested, and now you see like the real from the fake ones.
We talked about this on the previous exchange, the fact that, COVID is going to reveal the core of what your relationship is based on. I totally believe that, and unfortunately, and the stats are there. A lot of women have had to retreat, to safe houses, and because unfortunate circumstances are going on, because a lot of people don't know how to respond to these circumstances, and again, the close proximity, and again, not probably knowing the best way to deal with your spouse or your relationship. Because again, we go to work, we have our daily lives, and then we just have to deal with each other for a couple of hours in the evening, and then like, hey, go back to life. But when you have to deal with each other, and when you're forced to be with each other, a lot of people are revealing their true selves, and they're realizing that maybe the foundations, the core structure of their relationship is not what they thought it was. I'm not saying this to be condescending. I'm saying this because it's a very real truth. And you're preaching to the choir. We've had very, very difficult times. We've had difficult times, and you know what? You have to sit across from each other, and you're like, you know what? Just like you, Max. We told each other, like, listen, I don't like this. We are at a crossroads. We need to fix this. I don't know what's going on, but we need to fix this. You need to breathe. I need to breathe. Let's talk about this, whether it's financial, whether it's emotional, whether it's health. We've been through the ringer, and, compared to, our elders who've been 30, 40 years in the game, we're still youngins, but we're dealing with your own thing. And you're right, man. You need to be able to have those it's easy when everything is great. But, on those very dark days where you have to ask yourself the question, you're like, you go back to your core values, just like you. Divorce is out of the question. Don't talk to me about separating or, let me go take a couple of days. No. Go for a drive, go to the gym, just go to your mom's, go to your sisters, go have a drink. But we're going to get back to this.
Exactly. It's so important, man. It's and because I know some couples that got married around our time, even from colleagues, the foundation was wrong. The foundation was like based on looks, based on, okay, I like him for this time, let's do it. It's a phase, it's a whatnot. But man, your foundation needs to be solid, because after you say I do, and then you don't want it to turn in, do I really want to stay here? Like you have to make sure that the foundation is solid and build on that.
What? And I am curious because, I've gotten to know you, but, just speak it out for the people who might be listening. What are your core foundations? Because, I'm sure Sydney brings something to the couple, like, which are the pillars and the rock of this relationship. What are your core values? Like, for example, for me, I told my wife, like, from day one, do whatever you want to do. We can be having a disargument, but respect is primary. Like, just respect, open communication. I can take a licking. It's not a problem. You need to vent. You need to lash out, whatever. Curse that, not a problem. But you can respect is primary. What were your core foundations going in?
Well, going in, besides the divorce thing, I think what I wanted was for us to always be there for each other, no matter what would happen. Regardless of the situation, regardless of what would happen, like we needed to be there for each other. It doesn't matter if I'm mad at you, if something happens, we're back to being a team. Like we needed to not keep face, but I wanted the relationship to be to be based on faith. So
Mm-hmm.
our goal was really to have the foundation based on faith, because
Mm-hmm.
my growing up, it wasn't based on that for my father and my mother. And you guys can go check out our previous conversation concerning the relationship with my father and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I really felt that, and she was of the same as she had the same frame of mind, that if we put God as our foundation, or that we had to put him at the top of the pyramid, as long as one as each other were looking up to him and trying to get closer to him, that we will build that pyramid. As we get closer to God, we would get closer to each other. So our faith needed to be the foundation. We would not let anything come and disturb us, disturb our relationship. We would not let anyone come in and also try to cause ruckus. So whatever dirty laundry that we had to clean, we clean it at home. You don't go and ask your friend who's single to give you advice. I don't go to ask my boy who's single to give you advice.
Nope.
We are going to sort this out. Of course, we have like elders that are around us. So we have godparents who are around us, but we wanted to make sure that nothing would come and like try to separate us. So that was really something that was fundamental for us.
Word.
Yeah.
And you brought this up in the previous exchange, and I wanted to bring it back in regards to what we were talking about, because a lot of people also deal with this. And I want to ask this right, because it's okay. We talked about, we're a team, and we're building something together, but it's important to, again, retain your own individual self in regards to, okay, I might be a movie buff and she might like to read. I might like to go walk in the park. She might like to nap. And we all both have individual goals, and you talked about that. You have, your ambitions, and Cindy has her ambitions, same thing for me and my wife. And again, how do we make sure that we don't, fall into the trap of being egotistic or selfish in the pursuit of our goals? And because a lot of people often think that they have to, just squash their dreams for the other person's success, or vice versa. Is it possible for our goals to align for us to succeed?
Well, marriage is a partnership. So your partner doesn't necessarily have to be fully 100% invested in what you're doing. So let's say when I was doing music, like Cindy was aware of what I wanted to do. She was aware of my next moves, or what I wanted to accomplish, but she's not in the music industry. Now my goal and my focus has changed. She's focused on makeup and beauty, and it's not really my field of interest, but I take interest in what she's doing, not because I want to consume everything about makeup or all of that, but you still need to be aware what your partner is doing. And sometimes it's also helpful that your partner is not in the same field, because you have your face in the plate. So you're thinking about solving a problem or trying to bring a solution, but your spouse who's on the outside looking in, they can have a better vision. Like, okay, well, have you tried doing this or that? So it's really important that to maintain. If you don't maintain your individuality, you're just going to become like a copy or a robot, like a shell of yourself. You need to keep and maintain that individuality, but you need to also keep your partner in the loop of what you're doing, keep them aware of the next moves without necessarily wanting them to be fully invested. Now, if we're talking about, okay, she's a movie buff and you don't really like movie, or she likes to walk and you don't, well, that's part of the deal. It comes with the package. You have to make some concessions at time. So you can't do everything that you like all the time. She can't do everything that she likes all the time. This is called for concession. Like, it's part of the marriage. You have to work you through. Now, I'm not telling you guys, okay, now you have to walk every day all the time with her, but you have to have a balance in the relationship in order for it to work.
Thank you. Just taking off, just piggybacking off that, when your partner is aligned, when your partner knows what is important to you, or what is it that you need, you'd be surprised how much your partner is willing to, collaborate
Mm.
It's something very basic and something that happens. Oh yeah, I'm gonna say this on the air so she can, like, because she listens to all my episodes. She's like, oh, you never talk about me. I love you, dear, but this is a real one. I'm not just saying just to brag. The thing is, of course, with the entire pandemic, and because I work in construction, so of course,
Yes.
construction. The second we open up, and it's pandemonium. So
Yeah.
suppliers and everything, it's craziness. So of course, when I got called back to work after the layoff, obviously they didn't call back everyone. So just to say that everybody's pulling in their own weight and taking on more work. So my days have been extremely long.
Mhm.
And my wife and I, with the entire night juggling the kids and everything. So sometimes she goes get them and I go get them. So all this is saying that the day before, I was telling her, like, man, I'm just so backed up on my backlog. Got to make these orders, got to make these calls. And, so we're talking. It's just like, I'm so busy. Like, man, it's like, okay, so I got to go get the kids at the daycare tomorrow. And it's like, I'm in my head and I'm just talking. I'm just opening up. And the follow up to the next day around like maybe 2 p.m. because I close up the shop around like 5. All right. But I do take some extra hours sometimes. But, my wife knows I'm a workaholic, and I've been very open about this program as well. I'm a workaholic, like, 24 hours, like, I'm just give me coffee and I will gun it. But around like 2:30, seriously, around 2:30, my wife sends me a text. Babe, I got the kids. Do what you got to do. I love you. I'll see you later. Like, I didn't ask for anything. I didn't call her up. I didn't anything. Max, do you understand what that does to a guy to know that, your significant other, like your ride or die, your real one has got your back? It's not
That's
that complicated, but when you get that, you feel so invincible and you value that. And what went through my head? God, thank you for this woman who understands me and who's willing to back me up, even though this is not fun. She understands this is what I need right now. And 2, I need to be grateful for, for this generosity of time. I'm not going to abuse it. So yeah, I've stayed in like maybe an extra hour, but I'm like, you know what? This is enough. Stop by Costco, buy some flowers.
my man, my
And
man.
then,
All right.
you know what? It's important, just just came home and said, thank you. It's not a big deal, but you need that longevity of
Yes.
being with someone for the good and the bad to understand that, what, we are a team, and you know what? I got you. It's vice versa. It's not, these are very exceptional moments. We need to understand that, you know what, you need to put in the time and you need to create that dialogue. It's not easy for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but it's important. You need to figure out what works for you.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
And I'm still like, because yeah, we're definitely gonna put Cindy in this program. How has she made you a better version of you?
Oh man. Night and day, man. Like, if I could give a description of who I was before, like, I was not opening up. I was really, I would get mad so easily. Not a great communicator. So whatever I was feeling, I just kept it inside, and that's that. And although, yes, I was working, I was probably like all over the place. So the organization, on the organization side, she really did a work on me, and I think the most important thing is that the fact that she allowed me and give me that chance, give me the room to feel free to express myself. I think that opened up like so many doors for me. And I don't even think I'd be doing the podcast or being able to talk to men about different things, because talking, I was like, I was a cool guy, but I was not really into like talking to people. But the way that she made me open up myself and also self-reflect, have introspection on myself, like it totally made a change on the person that I am today. And I think that because of that, because of like the work that she did for me, like I'm a much better father, much better friend, much better son. Like I'm more attentive and more dedicated. So that definitely, if she wasn't in my life, like I wouldn't be anywhere near what I'm doing or my goals or my aspirations that I'm doing today.
Man, because
Yeah.
it's a lot. That's a lot of things you take for granted, right? Because again, taking on to the greater scheme of marriage, it's a sharing of energy, it's a sharing of time, but it's a sharing of the soul, of the self. It's an exchange, for the good and the bad. And you'd be surprised when you open up, because again, we're talking to the men, we're talking to our brothers and
Yes.
our compadres. When you open up and when you have the courage to put yourself out there, you would be surprised how much comfort or how much solace or how much reassurance can come from being, taken care of by this other person who wants nothing else to, be there for you and support you and give you and to see you succeed.
Yes.
And you know what? This is what the commitment, we're going back to the commitment
Mm.
of, the longevity of your relationship is supposed to represent. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's for the long game. It's going to hurt. It's going to have its ups and downs. There's going to be highs and lows. It's going to be cyclical. But you know what? Hold it down. Hold
Yes.
it down. Fight for what you believe in. Fight for your couple. Fight for your relationship. I strongly believe that. And because the men, I know their language. I know what's holding them back. I know what constitutes a hurdle. And you've probably experienced this with the man cave, with all the conversation that you had,
Yes.
mental health and keeping stuff in, and just not talking. And it's a vicious cycle that we
Yeah.
need to break free from. And it's going to take some time, but throughout all these conversations on the man cave that you had, it's a great program, by the way. I support you, man. Just keep doing this,
Yes.
man.
Really appreciate
And
it.
what are the stepping stones, and what significant steps are we doing, to push this conversation forward, Max? How can we help our friends? How can we help our brothers?
Well, I think if we expose the benefits of opening up, I think that would be like a first great step. I think sometimes I talk to men and we have the conversation about being more open, being able to be vulnerable. And sometimes I give them space in order to talk when I talk to them offline. But I think men do not understand the benefits. Like you said, your wife told you, okay, I got the kids, do what you got to do. You were able to work longer, but it relieved some weight off of your shoulder. But we don't. The men, I think, they need to see, okay, what am I going to get out of this? I'm just going to open up, and then what? But you need to see the after effect after that. Okay, she's going to understand you. If something comes up, she's going to be able to take the call and be like, okay, tag me in, let me handle this, and you go do what you got to do. But I think, men, we need to have that conversation where they see the benefit. Because I think that's one of the things that is stopping us. We're having a lot of conversation about, okay, mental health, about trying to open up the floodgates of communication. And for some men, okay, maybe it rings a bell. For some, it don't. But when we're going to start seeing the benefits, like you just mentioned earlier, once we're going to see, okay, the return on the investment that you're making on banking in on your spouse to tell her, okay, this is what I'm feeling, this, that, then we're going to be able to really flourish, because it's such a key component of relationship communication and understanding each other that if we don't do our part, we cannot grow, we cannot evolve. Women have no problem sharing. Like, they can share with you, they can share with their friends, they can share anytime. Even when you don't ask them, they still share. And they're like, you know what?
That's so true.
Like, when I talk to my wife and she tells me a story, she gives me all the details, like even the unnecessary ones. Sometimes I'm like, well, that doesn't have to do anything with the story. But she's like, yeah, but
Get to the point.
Yeah, get to the point. But they share and they express themselves. And men sometimes, and actually men, I'm saying men, but let me talk to them for myself. Even myself, when I tell her something, I'm like, okay, this, and that, A, B, C, and that's done. And then she ends up talking with someone else who was there. And she's like, well, you never told me that. I'm like, oh, yeah, well, it's not really important information. And she's like, oh, come on, man. Like, you need to give everything.
I need the details.
Yeah, the details. She needs the details. So if your woman knows the details of what you're feeling, then she's going to be able to invest in you to alleviate that weight. So we shouldn't be scared or shy away from expressing ourselves, because we're going to reap the rewards out of that.
Very, very real one, because and even with my own bouts of depression, and when I hit a wall, let's go call it a wall, because everybody, like, okay, you have some good days and some bad days, and my wife has learned to know me enough to know my triggers and to actually just deduce. And as you said, that's the best expression. You just have a conversation, 2 seconds, tag. I can't I can't do it right now. I just need to go for a walk. And I just need to for the world to leave me alone for like 30 minutes. I'm just going to go for a walk around the neighborhood. And she totally gets it. Like, I got this, just do what you got to do. And same thing for her, for sometimes, like, she just come home, she's super tired. It's like, babe, it's like, Sherry, just go, just go take your shower. She'll go in her bedroom. She'll go on Netflix,
Yeah.
just do her things. Like, I just got the kids. We'll watch cartoons, we'll dance, we'll just joke, just go on YouTube, make some pancakes. I got this,
Yeah.
like nothing. And that's my dynamic. It's probably different from your dynamic, and it's totally okay.
Yeah. But you know what? I think it's so important that you're saying that. And I do that too. Like whenever I see, before my wife had to tell it to me plain, like she had to say, I'm tired, I'm going to sleep. Like she really had to say so. Like I couldn't read between the lines.
Right.
So I was really bad at that. I was telling her, baby, you know what? Like I don't mind helping, but you need to break it down to me. Like you need to tell me what you need in order for me to react to it. Now it's different. Now I can peep the signals and I can see like little things that she does. Like for example, I know that if we're talking and she's like shaking her legs, I'm like, okay, you're tired. Okay, go. You can go to sleep. No, what? I catch it before her. So also, whenever I feel like she's tired or she needs some rest, I'm like, you know what? Go chill. Go do your stuff. I got the kids. We'll do something. We'll go for a walk around the block. She's like, yeah, but I want to be there with you guys. I'm like, nah, you need to rest. Take the time for yourself, and it's so important. If we can't pick up the ball for them, how can we expect them to do the same for us?
There you go.
Like I got friends who's like, oh yeah, like I'm babysitting the kids today. You're not babysitting the kids. They're your kids. What are you talking about?
Kids.
Like it's like
they're your kids. How can you be babysitting? You're
exactly.
The parent. You're just like, it's not something you subscribe and then like just give it back. No. It's totally on you. It's
exactly.
Totally on you.
So yeah, man, we definitely need to peep these signals and allow them also to kick their feet up sometime, because like it's demanding. It's demanding. Regardless, I don't care what anybody says. Like staying with kids or taking care of the house, it's demanding, man. So we need to be able to be there for them too.
I got one that's probably gonna, just gonna irritate a lot of people. Not irritate, but I can understand how some people might find this next question a bit condescending. But we're all real, and you're my brother. I know you understand this.
Yes, sir.
I believe some people should not get married.
I totally agree.
Some people get married for the wrong reasons, and that's what creates unfortunate circumstances, whether, first of all, for the individuals, because there is time wasted and resources and everything. Now, forget the wedding. But when you have kids in the mix, that's what bothers me. Yeah. All right? People can get separated for various circumstances, and I'm not, these, again, every couple is different, and I'm really trying to remain respectful. People know that I'm trying to be respectful in everything, but this is a reality. Some people should not get married for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
That bothers me to a point. I'm just like, I don't know what to do with that. And the statistics are rising, but do you take the time to think about why you would get married? And just, if we're big brothers and trying to coach people who are not married yet, what would be your words of wisdom for people walking into this?
Well, you don't know what to expect when you get married. Like everyone's marriage is different, but there's some similar patterns that we can understand, and we can extract from it. First of all, finances. You need to have the conversation about finances, what you're going to do with the money, how you're going to manage it. Ooh. Like it's such a big deal that if you just plan on getting married and then you come together and you're like, now you discuss how you're going to manage the money, it's impossible.
Oh, yeah, by the way, I've got $80,000 of school debt. Oh, yeah, I owe 2 notes on this car.
And I'm a compulsive buyer. Every time I see something, I just have to purchase it, but it's okay. Like, no, man, you need to have your finances in order, because if you have disorder in that field, man, you're going to get it through the teeth. And it's possible that you go through a season where, okay, the finances are a little bit low, there's bills stacking up or whatnot. That's understandable. But you need to be able to have that conversation too. Okay, how are we going to manage our finances? Then you need to understand why you're getting married. You're getting married because she's beautiful. You're getting married because he has a six-pack. Man, that's not going to last if that's your foundation on why you're getting married. Because I think like sometimes people get married because it's a trend or it's cool. We just wanted to get married. Listen, marriage is like picking up a second job. Like you have your 9 to 5, but when you get home, you have to provide. You have to make sure that you're there for each other. You have to be present. You have to be alert. There's so many things that is involved with that I don't think people take notes of that. People only see the bright side. Okay, I want my white dress. I want my 75 bridesmaid. I want like the open bar. I want this. I want the car, whatnot. But after that one day where you spent all your money, then afterwards the real work comes. So if you're not prepared, if you're not equipped for the real work, man, you're gonna get it through the teeth. So I totally agree with you that some people should not get married. Like when I got married, since I was young, in the office that I was working, there was a lawyer, and the lawyer was like, "Man, why are you getting married?" I'm like, "Well, I have faith, and we have." I have faith, and we understand each other, and we really want to build something together. And the guy laughed. He's like, "Okay, whatever, man. Why are you getting married? It's so cliche and whatnot." So he was making fun of me, but I didn't pay any mind to it. Then a couple of years later, he got married, but then the next year after, he got divorced. Eesh. So what are you saying? Like, you were an adult man of, like, I think it was about 45, but you're making fun of me of getting married, then you do the same thing, but you do not last because you probably just got married for whatever reason. I don't know what the reason was. So everyone's reason is different, but you need to make sure that the foundation, I'll go back to the foundation, that your foundation is solid. If you do not believe in God, fine. You don't have it's your prerogative. However, you still need to make sure that your foundation is solid, that you can build on that. If it's on beauty, it's vain. If it's because he has money, you can lose your job. You don't know anything that can happen. And one thing that my wife told me, I'll never forget that. Like, she said, "You know what? Like, I don't care if we're in a 1-bedroom shack and I have to eat peanut butter sandwiches for months. As long as we're together and we have each other, man, what else do you want off of that?" Man, I was like, "Okay, you know what? I'm Superman. Let's build something.
Let's make this happen.
Yeah,
we'll conquer the world.
Exactly,
we'll conquer the world." And that speaks a lot about having a real one. Yeah, and I got capital R, capital O. When you got a real one by your side, that is something that you're probably hoping that's what you have when you're starting. Because I'm sorry, nobody teaches you how to get married.
Of course,
nobody teaches. There's no manual to this. The same way there's no manual to having kids.
No.
But you put it the best way possible. Earlier when you talked about staying focused on your why. Why has got to be the core. For you, it's faith. For you both, it was faith. As long as your values are aligned with God and His holy grace, you guys have got a solid foundation there. For us, it's definitely it was a couple of things, but to this day, I am very thankful and ever so grateful that I have someone who can deal with my level of crazy. For me, I've been raised pretty much, dare I say, independent. I'm very self-sufficient, as in, like, if I ask you for help, "Hey, Max, can you help me with this thing?" "Nope." "All right, I'll figure it out." I won't mind asking you, but I'll figure it out. So all this to say that I don't really need someone. And I'm not saying that mean, but that was my mentality. For you, it was just like, okay, I'm going to go do music and everything. But for me, there was a lot of ego, because I've managed to do my stuff by myself. So my biggest hurdle was being able to let go and being able to, just share my load, if I can express it that way, with someone else. It's not a trust thing. It's a matter of just like, okay, it's okay for you not to share. I am here for you. You can put some weight on me. That's what I'm here for. I got you. All right. And I've had to, remind myself that plenty of times. And at a certain point now, it's become a comfort zone. Right now I can't take it. But when you're focused on your why, and you look at the person across from you, it's not about looks. It's not about the pocketbook. It's nice, but over time, all these things fade. And at the core, when the kids are gone, when the lights are off, you better be falling asleep with someone that you enjoy being with. Otherwise, it's going to be a very, very uncomfortable couple of years. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
You're just saying, and that's the truth. That's the truth, man. Like, and one of the thing also, if I can add, like, what I would suggest, like, to young couples getting married, is that, like you said, once you have your why, you have your vision, it's so easier to get refocused. Because let's say you have a disagreement concerning, let's say, I'll put it in terms that everybody can relate to. Let's say the goal is to be debt free, right? This is we all deal with bills or whatnot. And you say, okay, you know what? 2020, we're going to be debt free. So you sit down, you're like, okay, we're going to manage the finance, and comes a time that, okay, you see you see something that you would like to purchase. Let's say, I don't know, you saw a brand new computer and you're like, yo, this computer is awesome. No, TV. Let's say TV because both can use it. Let's say. So you see that nice TV and you're like, it's only $1,000. It's on rebate. Now we save or whatnot. Then comes the disagreement. One say, okay, no, we shouldn't buy it. The other one's like, yeah, but we really need a TV or whatnot. But if you come back to your vision, your why, which is, okay, we have to be debt free, then it levels any disagreement, because if you go back to your why and your vision, it says you need to be debt free, then you understand that this is not a purchase to make. So same thing when you have a disagreement or you have something, you're going through something in your marriage, you have to go back to your why. Okay, why did we get married? Oh, okay, because we wanted to build a solid foundation. We wanted to break generational curses and not repeat the same patterns that our parents or grandparents have been doing. Okay, let's work this through. That's, to me, that would be a great foundation on why you're getting married, or a tool to have.
There you go. My 2 cents is just the fact that if it's not about vanity, it's not about proving anything to anyone. You have to be able and willing to, just accept the fact that you love this person, you care about this person, you cherish this person, and you want to walk this path of, building a journey, building a foundation, building something, whatever it wants, whether it's just like buying a house and having 2 kids in the backyard. That's totally fine. As long as something that you both want, and someone that you trust, someone that you believe in, someone that you cherish, someone that you celebrate as much as yourself. Someone who can cry with, someone you can wake up to and laugh with and play around with, and it's just going to be fun. It's not just about falling into the sack and having like, hey, because even that fades. That's a whole other conversation in itself.
Yes.
But even that flame needs to be, nurtured and kept alive, because marriage is so many facets, can go very broad. Yes. But you need to understand that at the core is, it's being happy together, not just dealing with each other or settling for each other. And yes, that's the mistake that I would not want people to make. You should not go down this path of sharing your life with someone if you're just going to settle for each other. Yeah, okay, so just gonna deal with you. Like, okay, might as well.
I guess we'll do the road.
We'll figure it out. No, like no. It needs to be something that that electrifies you. You wake up and everyone's like, okay, I'm not saying it's gonna be peachy and rosy every day. No. But you know what? Hey, and that quote just came to my mind right now. It's just like so stupid, but I'm just going to use it anyway. In the Sex and the City movie, there was one character that said, yeah, I love him every day, not all day every day, but every day. And that is so true. It's kooky, but it's true. It's so true. Hey, man, because Max, these are the kind of conversations that get me jazzed, and these are the things that our compadres need to hear, because it matters to me. And you know what, I couldn't think of another person to have this very open, very candid conversation with. I know you're a super busy guy, and I want to keep my promise. I'm very good on keeping my promise in regards to the clock. I'm not going to keep it too late.
It's all good, man.
But seriously, it's something that I believe it's important, for everybody within a committed relationship who needs to hear this in regards to, sometimes the road might be rocky. Sometimes, might be confused. Some people who are considering getting married, I'm not going to speak for you. I'm not in a place to tell you like, yeah, do get married, or don't get. No, you know what? Figure out the conversation with this person across from you, and then make make up your mind for yourself.
Yeah.
If this is a conversation that can help someone either way, wherever you fall on the fence, as long as you are blessed and satisfied and happy with your choice, you have my entire support on that road.
Yes, man. And like something came to my mind. So one thing that is also important that I went through. So I'm speaking of, because I lived it. Like sometimes once you get kids involved in the relationship, it's so easy sometimes to get caught up in the routine. So you're just going to work, taking care of the kids, and then going to work, and then taking care of the kids. And you don't take time you don't spend enough time with your spouse. What comes afterwards is that you get a relationship that people have been together for 40 years, then the kids get out of the house and then they separate.
Who are you?
because
You know,
because they
I
didn't
don't
take
know
it
you anymore.
exactly. Like same thing. So we go back to the communication. Like you need to take the time to know your spouse, what she likes, what she doesn't like. Things change over the years, and I thought of that because I went to visit my mom, and my neighbor passed by. And my mom was like, "Oh yeah, so we're gonna sell the house, whatnot." And he's like, "Yeah, me too, because I'm alone." And my mom was like, "Well, no, well, you have your wife." It's like, "No," and then he's like, "No, well, she left." My mom was like, "Well, you've been together for like 50 something years." It's like, "Yeah, but we're still good friends." What do you mean? You spent
Oh,
like 50 years
50
of your life.
years for us to be
But
still good friends.
but the
Wow.
kid, but the kids were out of the house, so he was basically living
With a
with a
stranger.
tenant, with a stranger. So they decided to break it off. But I'm like, man, you cannot invest so many years with someone and not take the time to know that person. So it's
And the scary thing is the fact that it happens more often than you can. It's happening at a smaller frame rate that
mm,
most people want to understand, because you know why? As again, we were talking about commitment.
mm,
People get bored, or people, resign themselves very easily. Like, first year with a kid, second year with a kid, we realize, oh, kids are a lot of work too. And I got
yeah.
to maintain my marriage as well. Really? I know. F this. I'm out. And then you have a kid in the mix, and that is
Yeah,
so true. You know what? Because, and people need to hear this, so thank you for bringing it up.
yeah.
Because we went through that, and because we lost our first, and then we had, my daughter was born with the God's
Mm,
grace, and then my wife, had a very complicated pregnancy, so she was stuck with the home with the baby the first year. So here I am doing the workaholic thing, handling life outside.
mm.
And all you're doing is for the baby. All you're doing is in regards to baby. All you're doing is centered around the baby.
Yes.
Every single thing. And again, the baby in itself, like, my daughter was premature, so even the formula was a special kind of formula that was super hyper expensive. Add that to debts we're piling on. We just bought the house and everything. So everything that we talked about. So around the first 2 years, what do you think happens? We're angry at each other. We're resentful toward each other. Yeah, the kid is healthy. Oh, sure. Like, you go to family's house. Yeah, let's take pictures with the baby. And yeah, baby's fine. Yeah, great. We're terrific parents, but we are failing as partners, but
Yes.
monumentally. And it was not fun. But going back again, go back to to your previous comment in regards to having that open communication. What works for you? Like I told you, like, okay, we can lash out at each other as long as I got respect. And then we had to have these conversations. Like, listen, I'm not liking this. We are parents, but we were people before we were engaged, before we got married, before we became parents. Can we go back to those people? I'm not saying let's be the same people, but can we understand that the couple has a place within the parenting? And a lot
Yes.
of people are ashamed to admit that you have to put the couple first, because
Yes.
the parenting, the children stem from the marriage, from the union. It's a pyramid, see? So the kids are not before. You can't idolize your kids. You can't make your kids, yes, your kids are first and foremost a priority, okay? You're not going to let your kids sleep in the street. Duh.
No.
But you cannot give what you don't have. And if your union is devoid of happiness, if your union is devoid of communication, if it's devoid of, just positivity and, nurturing and stuff, what do you think is going to trickle down into your relationship with your kids? It's just hypocrisy. It's just toxicity. It's just resentment. And that's a mistake a lot of people make. And I had to go through that. And, that's something I want people to hear, because my words are very truthful. You don't want to go down that road. It's not fun. Some people don't walk away from it. Like I said, people just, you know what, F it. You know what, I can't take this shit. I'm just like, I'm gone. And you have a kid in the mix. And then that's where you go with, like, with 1 week with me, 1 week with me, 1 week with me. It's like, not fun. And people need to hear this reality. Marriage is some serious business.
That's the truth.
Marriage ain't no joke.
Yeah.
Ain't no joke, man. But it's all about real talk, man. It's all about real talk.
Yes.
And I thank you for for being so open and so forthcoming, because again, it's important to talk to a brother. And you know what, as always, signing off, man, where can the people connect with you, Max? No, first of all, I want to thank you, as always, celebrate you for everything you're doing on the Man Cave Live. Personal project that became its own movement. And I personally always look for, I can't always chime in every week, but I just catch like, I log in every week and I just like give a comment here or there, but it's so rewarding to see, a community of men and you cheerleading, these men doing great things and just having a normal, open conversation about everything.
Yeah.
Our money, our relationships, how to be entrepreneurs and how to break our careers. And I love the fact that it's so open and so candid on IG Live. So you guys definitely please do follow Max on IG and then just tune in every Thursday at 8, with your guests. And I believe this week we have Etienne Boulet.
Etienne Boulet this week, yes.
Yeah. So this episode probably going to come after this broadcast, but so I'm definitely going to repost it on Instagram. But yeah, man, it's a terrific project. And again, I want to thank you for all the terrific energy, Max, because you're a real one. And really, man, like, you're a brother. And I really mean that, once this craziness is over, I'm definitely having you and your tribe over for barbecue. You have to make this happen.
We are here for sure.
Making it happen, man. But where can people connect with you, man?
All right. So you can connect with me on IG. So it's I am Max de la Cruz. Yes, it's my real name. I am Max de la Cruz. And you can follow me also on Facebook, same handle. So I am Max de la Cruz. And like we said, so I host the Man Cave Live podcast every Thursday and 8 p.m. and sometimes 9 p.m. So we have open and honest conversation about anything related to manhood, fatherhood, relationship, and everything in between.
My man. And definitely something that, helps the conversation moving forward. So every single one of us, every single one of our brothers can actually put in their 2 cents. And that is how we're going to move the conversation forward. And that's, going probably, it's going to take some time, but I want to see this change. Eventually it will happen. I maintain that.
Yes.
And you know what? As always, running tradition on the pod, my man, like, just a following quote, a call to action, leaving the floor up to the guests, just see us through and waking up tomorrow, just one significant step, a quote, a song, whatever, just taking that next step towards the next level. What can we leave the listeners with?
I would say, if you want to do something, whether it's a plan or you have a goal, you need to stop. I want to say to someone, you need to stop putting roadblocks or talking yourself down before you even get started. I'm talking about this because I can take the Man Cave Live as an example. Like someone was telling me, Taina was telling me, okay, you do it. But I was putting roadblocks already on. I was putting roadblocks already on my projects, and it didn't even start it. And that quote, and I got a quote that said, "Be careful how you talk to the warrior within, because it knows no difference on if it's the enemy or yourself." So you need to make sure that whenever you want to do whatever you want to make go forward, man, that you do not talk yourself down. You need to be your first cheerleader. You need to have confidence in what you're doing. And then once you get this started, slowly but surely, you can collect the pieces that are missing in order to make your thing move forward. But do not talk yourself down. Do not talk bad about yourself to yourself. That's what I got to say, man.
Yes. Internal dialogue is primary. And how we carry that is so influential into how we interact with the world. Yes. So we need to watch what we tell ourselves. Max, thank you as always for your terrific energy, for your brotherhood, for your support, because, I really appreciate all the reposts and just, making a comment here and there. So yes, it doesn't go unnoticed, my friend. I really, really do appreciate it. But as always, to you and yours, all the blessings. Please do stay safe. All right.
Yes, you too.
All the best. And of course, all my love to Cindy. Guys, another episode of Waking the Awesome in the can with my man, Max de la Cruz. I'll be sure to check out all his wonderful content. Guys, please do follow Max on Instagram. I am Max de la Cruz on Instagram, and check out the IG Live podcast every Thursday, 8 p.m., sometimes 9 p.m., but stay up with the postings for the correct time. But guys, thank you so much for supporting this wonderful journey of Awaken the Awesome. As always, your host, Olivier, checking in. And guys, have a terrific evening. Stay blessed. Stay resilient. As always do. Stay awesome.
This has been another episode of the Awaken the Awesome podcast. We always love to get your feedback, so please do drop us a line via Instagram, Facebook, or email. Our email address, awakentheawesome@gmail.com. Do visit our official website at awakentheawesome.ca, where you can find our entire back catalog of episodes and incredible guests. Also, if you haven't already, please hop on over to Apple Podcasts and subscribe, give us a rating, and leave us a review, as this helps us tremendously in growing this podcast and spreading the word to more awesome listeners like you. We always appreciate your support, and thank you for listening. Stay awesome.